Workshare execution is one of those topics that looks simple on paper and becomes brutally real the moment a live engineering project starts moving across offices, time zones, systems, disciplines, and personalities. Because Workshare is not just about sending engineering work to another office. It is not just about accessing skilled resources. It is not just about cost optimization. It is not just about using a supporting office. It is not even just about improving schedule flexibility. Workshare is a management discipline. It is controlled integration. And if you are a project manager, project engineering manager, discipline lead, project execution manager, or someone responsible for delivery, I want you to hear this clearly. Workshare does not fail because teams are geographically separated. Workshare fails because management control does not travel with the work. That is the real issue. The work moves. The responsibility does not. The deliverables move. The accountability does not. The engineering hours move. The client expectation does not. And this is where many projects get damaged. A team wins a project. The schedule is aggressive. The home office looks at its available resources and says, "We need support." The supporting office is identified. The team says, "Let us send this scope there." Everyone feels that a solution has been found. But then, the real problems begin. The scope is not fully clear. The work release package is not mature. The supporting office does not have full project context. The standards are missing. The design criteria are incomplete. The project portal access is late. The engineering design systems are not aligned. The schedule is not broken down properly. The estimate was not agreed. The progress measurement rules are vague. The weekly meetings become status rituals instead of decision forums. And then, weeks later, the project manager asks the famous question, "Why is the work delayed?" The answer is uncomfortable. The work was delayed before it started. Not because the engineers were poor, not because the supporting office did not care, not because people were lazy. The work was delayed because the management system was not ready. That is the first principle of Workshare execution. Never transfer ambiguity and call it delegation. If the home office does not know exactly what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, when it needs to be done, what inputs are required, what standards apply, what deliverables are expected, how progress will be measured, and who will approve the work, then the supporting office is not receiving a package. It is receiving confusion. And confusion is expensive. It becomes rework. It becomes delay. It becomes budget overrun. It becomes technical misalignment. It becomes emotional escalation. It becomes a trust problem between offices. And eventually it becomes a client-facing issue. The client does not care whether the error came from the home office or the supporting office. The client sees one project team, one delivery obligation, one schedule, one quality expectation, one contractual commitment. So if you are managing Workshare, you must stop thinking like a sender of work and start thinking like an integrator of execution. The home office remains accountable. Always. The supporting office can execute the work, but the home office owns the result. The supporting office can prepare the deliverables, but the home office owns the client-facing technical outcome. The supporting office can report progress, but the home office owns progress confidence. The supporting office can raise issues, but the home office owns the resolution system. This is why Workshare must begin at project award, not when the project is already under pressure. At project award, the project should immediately bring the Workshare structure into the execution conversation. The regional Workshare manager must be informed. The project integration engineer must be identified. The supporting office must be notified. The Workshare scope must be reflected in the project execution plan. The project overview must be shared. Proposal information relevant to the Workshare scope must be provided. Commercial and accounting mechanisms must be confirmed. The project portal must be created or expanded so the right people can access the right information at the right time. This may sound administrative, but it is not. This is execution risk control. If you do not set this up early, the project will pay later. And let me be blunt, late Workshare mobilization is one of the fastest ways to destroy the value of Workshare. You cannot delay planning, delay access, delay staffing, delay systems alignment, delay work release packages, delay estimate agreement, delay readiness review, and then expect the supporting office to rescue the schedule. That is not management. That is wishful thinking. The next major control point is the project kickoff. Workshare must not be treated as a small side topic in the kickoff meeting. It must be visible. It must be discussed. It must be owned. Who is doing what? Which office is responsible for which scope? Who owns the interface? Who provides the inputs? Who approves deliverables? Who manages project portal access? Who tracks actions? Who attends weekly Workshare meetings? Who resolves discipline conflicts? Who escalates blockers? Who owns the Workshare look forward list? These questions matter because distributed engineering creates natural gaps. The role of management is to close those gaps before they become cracks in delivery. The Workshare look forward list is especially powerful when used correctly. Do not treat it as a passive action tracker. Use it as a forward risk radar. It should show upcoming work release package needs, missing inputs, pending standards, staffing gaps, design system issues, model access requirements, document distribution problems, review cycle risks, schedule interfaces, and decisions required from management. A weak manager asks, why did this deliverable slip? A strong manager asks, what can make this deliverable slip 2 weeks from now? That is the mindset required. Workshare planning is where the strategy becomes executable. This is where you convert broad intent into controlled packages. You review whether gap analysis or training is required. You check whether personnel exchange is needed between offices. You identify key home office and supporting office personnel. You update the Workshare execution plan. You send it for review. You define schedule items for the Workshare scope. You break work into work release packages. You detail the lower-level schedule activities. You prepare draft work release packages. You review them with the home office. You send them to the supporting office. You confirm whether the supporting office agrees with the estimate and schedule. And if they do not agree, you do not ignore it. You hold the conversation. You resolve the estimate. You revise the package. You issue it properly. This is not bureaucracy. This is how you prevent future conflict. Because if the supporting office does not agree with the estimate before execution, then you have planted a dispute inside the project. Later, when hours rise or progress slows, the home office will say, you are overrunning. The supporting office will say the estimate was never realistic. The discipline lead will say the scope was not clear, and the project manager will ask, why was this not resolved earlier? Exactly. Resolve it earlier. Estimate agreement is not a formality, it is a trust check. It confirms that both offices understand the same scope, the same technical complexity, the same deliverable requirements, the same schedule pressure, and the same assumptions. Now let us talk about the work release package itself. A work release package is not a file transfer. It is the unit of control. It is the management contract between the home office and the supporting office. It should define the scope, deliverables, inputs, standards, schedule, estimate, assumptions, interfaces, responsibilities, review expectations, progress measurement rules, and closeout requirements. If the work release package is weak, the Workshare system is weak. If the scope is vague, the package is weak. If the deliverables are not clearly listed, the package is weak. If the standards are missing, the package is weak. If the schedule is not detailed enough, the package is weak. If the progress rules are undefined, the package is weak. If the supporting office has not reviewed it, the package is weak. And if you release weak packages, do not be surprised when you receive weak outcomes. Workshare execution rewards clarity. It punishes assumption. It punishes vague scope. It punishes missing inputs. It punishes informal coordination. It punishes progress reporting that is based on opinion instead of deliverable maturity. This is why progress measurement must be designed before progress is claimed. Engineering progress is not the same as hours spent. A designer can spend 40 hours and still not produce mature, deliverable progress. An engineer can prepare calculations that later become invalid because an input was missing. A model can look visually advanced but still be technically immature. A deliverable can be 80% drafted and only 30% ready. So you need rules of progress. What counts as progress? Starting the work, receiving inputs, completing a draft, completing discipline check, completing interdiscipline review, closing home office comments, issuing for internal review. issuing for client review, issuing for design, issuing for construction. If you do not define this, progress becomes opinion. An opinion is not a control system. One of the biggest project illusions is the illusion of progress. The dashboard looks healthy. The supporting office says, progress is moving. The weekly report looks acceptable. Then suddenly the deliverable enters review and fails. Why? Because reported progress was not real maturity. That is why engineering managers must challenge progress. Do not ask only what percentage is complete. Ask what evidence supports that percentage. Ask which deliverables are mature. Ask which comments are closed. Ask which inputs are still pending. Ask which interfaces remain unresolved. Ask what is stopping completion. This is how progress becomes management intelligence instead of decoration. Before execution begins, readiness reviews are critical. A Workshare readiness review is a gate between intention and execution. It asks a simple question: are we actually ready to start, or are we pretending? Many projects skip this because the schedule is urgent. But urgency does not create readiness. Pressure does not create inputs. A deadline does not create standards. A meeting does not create system access. If a work release package starts before it is ready, the risk does not disappear. It enters execution and becomes more expensive. So before releasing work, check the basics. Is the scope clear? Are the inputs available? Are the standards and specifications available? Is project portal access working? Are engineering design systems aligned? Are discipline leads named? Are checking responsibilities clear? Is the estimate agreed? Is the schedule agreed? Are assumptions recorded? Are interfaces known? Are progress rules loaded? Is document distribution set up? If these are not ready, the work release package is not ready. Starting unready work is not acceleration. It is controlled failure disguised as action. Execution then requires rhythm. Weekly Workshare meetings are essential, but they must not become empty status calls. A proper weekly meeting should be a decision forum. It should review active work release packages, upcoming work release packages, readiness status, missing inputs, schedule risks, progress updates, engineering system issues, staffing constraints, document control problems, quality concerns, review comments, commercial concerns, and escalation needs. The right people must attend. Actions must have owners. Actions must have dates. Minutes must be issued quickly. Decisions must be recorded. Open issues must be visible. Repeated issues must be escalated. If the same action appears week after week, that is not coordination. That is failure to close. A Workshare meeting without decisions is noise. A Workshare meeting without action closure is theater. A Workshare meeting without the right people is wasted time. The project integration engineer is central here. This role is not just a messenger. The project integration engineer is the interface controller. This person connects the home office, supporting office, discipline leads, project controls, design systems, project coordination, and project management. A weak project integration engineer forwards emails. A strong project integration engineer removes friction. A weak project integration engineer waits for complaints. A strong project integration engineer anticipates blockers. A weak project integration engineer reports problems. A strong project integration engineer prevents problems. If you are a manager, do not assign this role casually. The person managing Workshare interfaces needs authority, technical awareness, schedule awareness, discipline respect, communication strength, and the ability to force alignment across offices. Because coordination is not communication, coordination is control. The project engineering manager also has a major responsibility. Distributed engineering must not become fragmented engineering. The project engineering manager must protect engineering coherence across offices. That means common design criteria, common standards, common checking expectations, common review discipline, common technical assumptions, common quality levels, common safety thinking, and common design basis. If the project engineering manager is passive, Workshare quality becomes dependent on informal behavior. That is dangerous. Workshare needs stronger engineering governance, not weaker governance. And the project manager must stay engaged because Workshare affects the entire project result. It affects budget. It affects schedule. It affects quality. It affects contractual delivery. It affects customer confidence. It affects change control. It affects risk. It affects team credibility. The project manager cannot treat Workshare as a background engineering process. The project manager must ask the hard questions. Is Workshare included in the project execution plan? Is the Workshare execution plan issued? Are work release packages approved? Are estimates agreed? Are readiness reviews complete? Are progress measurement rules defined? Are systems aligned? Are weekly meetings working? Are risks visible? Are problems being escalated early? This is leadership, not interference. Leadership. Now let us talk about failure patterns. The first failure pattern is late mobilization. Everything starts late, and the supporting office is expected to recover a schedule that management already damaged. The corrective action is early activation. Inform the right people at project award. Bring the supporting office in early. Create portal access early. Confirm commercial mechanisms early. Start planning early. The second failure pattern is a weak Workshare execution plan. The document exists, but it does not control behavior. The corrective action is to make the Workshare execution plan practical. It must define how the work will actually be executed, reviewed, measured, coordinated, escalated, and closed. The third failure pattern is poor work release package definition. The corrective action is discipline level clarity. Define the scope, deliverables, inputs, standards, estimate, schedule, interfaces, reviews, and progress rules before release. The fourth failure pattern is progress illusion. The corrective action is rules of progress tied to deliverable maturity, not hours spent or subjective reporting. The fifth failure pattern is missing inputs and standards. The corrective action is readiness verification. Do not release work until the supporting office has what it needs to execute correctly. The sixth failure pattern is design systems misalignment. The corrective action is system readiness. Align tools, templates, model access, document control, numbering, file structure, engineering data management, and deliverable formats before execution. The seventh failure pattern is weak weekly governance. The corrective action is decision-driven meetings, action closure, rapid minutes, and escalation discipline. The eighth failure pattern is poor closeout. The corrective action is formal closeout. Complete the Workshare execution plan closeout requirements, close work release package actions, reconcile documents, capture lessons, and inform regional Workshare leadership. Closeout matters because projects that do not close properly do not learn properly, and teams that do not learn properly repeat the same mistakes on the next project. So here's the real leadership message. Workshare is not a cheap hour strategy. Workshare is not a resource balancing trick. Workshare is not a casual distribution of deliverables. Workshare is a disciplined execution model. It can absolutely create value. It can increase capacity. It can access skilled resources. It can improve delivery flexibility. It can support schedule recovery. It can optimize cost. It can strengthen project execution, but only if you manage it with structure. If you manage it loosely, it will expose every weakness in your project. Weak scope, weak planning, weak communication, weak systems, weak progress measurement, weak engineering governance, weak leadership. Workshare amplifies the quality of your management system. If your management system is strong, Workshare becomes an advantage. If your management system is weak, Workshare becomes a risk multiplier. So before you send work to another office, ask yourself, is this work clear enough to be executed? Is the package mature enough to be released? Is the supporting office ready? Are the inputs complete? Are the standards available? Are the systems aligned? Are the estimates agreed? Are the progress rules defined? Are the interfaces controlled? Are the weekly meetings capable of making decisions? Are we truly ready, or are we simply desperate? That last question is important, because many Workshare problems are caused by desperation wearing the mask of execution. Do not transfer pressure. Transfer clarity. Do not transfer confusion. Transfer controlled scope. Do not transfer accountability away from the home office. Build an integrated delivery system. That is the difference between Workshare that saves a project and Workshare that damages a project. If this episode gave you a sharper way to think about Workshare execution, project integration, engineering management, and distributed delivery, like this podcast, share it with your project teams, and subscribe to the channel. For more engineering management guidelines, project execution insights, process automation learning, engineering design thinking, and control automation podcasts, Subscribe to Leadership Notes on YouTube and follow my LinkedIn newsletter where I go deeper into the practical management systems that turn engineering effort into reliable project delivery. Because in the end, successful project delivery is not about how much work you move. It is about how well you control the work after it moves.